Good morning, Midnight Coders, and welcome to another live stream where we are building RuneHero. RuneHero is a fan-made, old school RuneScape inspired. Why am I off to the side? There we go. That was weird. Let's try this again. Good morning and welcome. In this live stream, we are going to pick up where we left off last weekend. I do apologize for not getting out sooner. However, I would like to... Cat. As always, wave to the people. Hello. Yeah, you like the hat, don't you? Say hi. No? Well, so RuneHero is a fan-made Discord RPG bot that is sort of mimicking old school RuneScape. You can explore the free-to-play world. You can explore some of the dungeons. You can fight familiar foes. You can travel around Gielinor and training a suite of skills. So where we left off last weekend was with the smithing skill, or the blacksmith skill. So we were making it so that you could smelt ores into metal bars. However, we bumped into a little issue where we put too many buttons on the screen, and Discord was like, no. You got 6, and you're only allowed to have 5. So I went ahead and I moved the smith and smelt buttons from being on the second bar to now being on their own utility bar. So in this stream, we're gonna take a little bit more of a deep dive into seeing if we can actually smelt ores into bars, and then we are going to look at adding in the smithing with the anvil. So this should be fun, and I hope that you all have that full cup of coffee as we go and dive on in. So let's get rid of me. Welcome to the chat, MJ. Get rid of me, we'll bring up small me, and we'll bring up this, or we'll bring up this me. Bring up this. Bring up this. Maybe not. There it goes. All right. So, what, so we were able to click on smelt, and right now I'm being told that I have nothing to smelt. And clicking on smith does absolutely nothing at the moment. So let me do a quick bit of magic hocus pocusness. Hop into my browser, log in, and see if I can make a quick little edit. copper ore. Save. Change you into in ore. Save. Okay, so now if I click on smelt, it's going to think for a hot minute and then fail. Okay. What failed? Okay. So let's I thought this would be a little bit more of a show and tell sort of deal, but let's dive into the small me, get rid of Discord for a moment, and have a look, see what's going on. So if I go doot, 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 make this nice and big so everybody can see. Cough and choke. That's okay. Alright, so now that we've zoomed in 175%, we are seeing here that the select component is duplicated. When I click, if I get rid of this, when I click on smelt, it should present me an option. However, it's saying that the specific option value is already used. So let's go pop into our blacksmith button class and take a look to see what we got going on here. So select the bar to smelt. Okay, I see what might be going wrong here. Technically, we are going to duplicate this and make sure we grab that, because on here we know that in here we know that the there is a third button row that I had to add, so we're going to make sure we capture that in the smithing section as well. Let's run that one or not. What the heck is the third one? Why are there so many? And yeah, none of these. None of them are used. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, there you go. Wow, okay. Way to not pick up that that's running. Alright, so in here we are adding in some options. We are making sure available bars for each bar. We want to add an option. Get available bars to make. Is this coming to... Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of debugging. I want to put a breakpoint here. I'm going to rerun this in debug mode. Now, I'm not going to show it, but I'm just going to go over here and click on the smelt button so that we can see what happens over here. So we're seeing here that I'm being told that I'm able to make 2 bronze because I've got... Oh, okay, that's... Yeah, because I've got these 2 here, but it's double checking it. Alright, so... Well, I guess we're looking to just simply see if... Nope, because I'm adding that double option in there again. Okay, so I guess I'm looking to come into my available bars method. And I guess I'm looking to tweak this so we're not... Okay, so I'm making an array list of metal bars. I'm seeing the bars to make, and I'm streaming in the metal bars values. And for each one, I'm checking to see if they're required. Get the required materials here and loop over the required materials. And if we have this, do this, do this. I'm gonna go ahead and say if available bars dot contains bar. Why are we doing this? So if we don't contain it, then add it. So let's give that a rerun. I don't know why I reran it in debug, but whatever. Now I'm going to click that smelt button. Okay, now I have something to show. So now we bring up Discord. When I clicked it, we now have a drop-down menu telling me to choose a bar to make. And if I choose this one, I don't believe we actually implemented that. So this is select bar to smelt, and that is not being used anywhere. Cool. So we have to add that. So here we will go into, where am I at? That's the wrong thing. Okay, so not the API, the bot. So we're gonna go into Discord. We're gonna go down into, so we have some select menus. So we need to create a new select menu for like a selected bar to smelt, I guess, or bar to smelt, blacksmith smelt. Yeah, select bar to smelt, I guess, or bar smelting bar selection. I don't even know at this point, but we're gonna name it something fun. So new class, forge bar selection. Forge bar, forge smithing, smelt bar. Forge smelt bar selection. Go where that kind of sort of works. We'll add this guy in here, and I need to remember what I'm doing, so just give me a quick second. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna copy all of that and a couple of these, and we'll see what we need and don't need. Okay, so I'm gonna paste these guys in here. I'm gonna come into this guy and paste this guy. No, Mike, you're not, because that did not do a handle. Now we do this. And we can get rid of some of this stuff. Okay, I think that's what we're looking to get rid of in here. Okay, so forging the bar, we're going to handle the selection. We're going to get the ID of the user that this is for. We're going to verify that the owner that clicked it is the owner that is the one that the button was made for. Value, which is going to be the first one selected, which is going to be that option. The value is the ordinal of the bar. So I can come down here and say bar to melt equals something like that. Metal bars dot values, and then I want to grab the value of this. And we're going to parse it into an integer, being the ordinal. Something like that. So then the bar to smelt is going to be yada yada. And the event is just going to edit the original saying prepare to smelt. I think I'm going to event.defer edits. So we're going to queue up that. And then of course we want to come down with a new, basically that. Smelting activity. We don't actually have that class done, so let's go back over into game. No, model. Containers, entity, map. No, it's not it. Game, activities, skills. There we go. All right, and if we were to look at, say, the cooking one, this one is a little bit of a disaster, kind of large. I guess we'll look at fire making because it was the most recent skill added. We yeah, I can kind of roll with this. So let's make a new, what do we call it? Yeah, we'll go ahead and add it. This, do that, do this, do that, da 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 da. Okay, and also I am creating a constructor skiller, and then I need to set the skill name. That's right. Set skill, which would be smelting, which is technically blacksmithing. Sure, blacksmith, whatever. Setting the object, that is return this. Yeah, because I'm not doing anything. There is no technical object for this. I think. Where is... Okay, I guess I am actually doing that in there and da-da-da-da. Skilling prop, okay. And it is a furnace over a... yeah, okay, but I don't know when I'm actually using that other than internally. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, I guess I can keep track of... I mean, I can always say as it an instance of Forge. Da, 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 da. That worked for most cases, but it really doesn't work for this utilities case that I'm trying to do, because I want to be able to, in a way, tell this that it is that it is a forge, but I want to be able to tell it that it is this metal bar, so to speak. But like initializing the activity here, I'm passing in the event. I am technically passing in the metal bar here. So, I mean, I could come into here and say something like private metal bar. Um, call it a forged bar. And I can say if this is this, then this, and then I should be able to call that within the actual activity as needed. Okay, so so the smithing activity, we're going to come into here, and I'm going to be getting, minimize this so I got more space. I guess I'm going to call this in here. I'm going to bring in my hero client. Bring in my hero client so that I can come down here and just do this. Ah, yes, okay. That's just going to need to be event. And get user to get ID. Okay, and then we have the owner of it. Which I technically could have just said passed in the, yeah, whatever. Anyway, so we have the owner. We want to do the same thing we're doing here and initiate the experience if it's null. If it happens to be null, we're gonna set it up. We're gonna do this little activity here where we're gonna check to see if the hero, which is going to be a var hero equals hero. I'm gonna call this owner. I just feel better about that. I don't know why, but I just feel better about that. All right, so hero get level, blacksmithing. Forged bar dot get required level. Skilled enough to melt these ores. Okay. There's that check. All right, and then we're going to come down into the next section. This is just going through to check to see if we have the appropriate levels. So it's going to fail, so I want to more or less skip over that, come down to here, and I want convert code. What do you mean? What do you mean it appears to be JavaScript? Go away. JavaScript. Hmm. So here we're going to make a quick check to see if the length of the required items is greater than 1, in which case we are then going to attempt to delete this. And if we're not able to delete the secondary item, required items, basically gonna screw it and say the same thing. So one way or the other, we're going to do this, and now I can technically simplify that and just a private void send error message. Do this, do that. Take this, do this, and I don't even need to say that. I can just call it as a hook. And this can just be this whole thing can just be send error message, then get hook. There we go. All right, so now when we're trying to see if we have, sorry, up here when we're trying to remove the first item, if by some chance we cannot remove the first item, okay, so we're going to try to remove the first item, and if we can't, we're going to throw an error, and then we're going to check to see if forge required items are greater than 1, which I should probably say here for simplicities is that if this is equal to 2, we want to get the second index and see if we can destroy it or remove it. And of course, if we can't, send an error, yada yada. We know that everything was failed, and so from here going forward, we know we can handle this, so to speak, the level up logic. So I'm just going to copy this, come into here, and adding blacksmith experience. And this is forged bar.get. I not have an experience return? Oh no, I got experience reward. There it is. Okay. And then we're adding skill. Blacksmith, I think is what I called that. I cast twin end. So if we come into here, I need to see what I called it. Blacksmith. Okay, blacksmith. Yeah, okay, blacksmith. All right. So now if we've leveled up, we're going to go ahead and say that you've leveled up. And then, of course, we're going to want to make sure that we update the player's record. And in this case, return them to the exact same area they were just in. Why does that not sound right? Could be right. You know, that's right, I suppose. Cool. So we've smithed the bar. We've done this. I want to... We've removed the 2 other bars. So now we want to say... I'm just going to actually wrap this in another if. So if backpack.add item... So if we... And this is going to be a check to see if we, for some reason, can't... this is going to be an error, and close. We're gonna say that there was an error. Event.getHook that there was an error adding the bar to your inventory. All right, so now we got this. We need to see if we can item ID. Actually, no, it's not item ID. It is forged bar dot get bar ID 1. So there. So now we've added the bar to them, and in theory everything should be good. We should now be able to okay, so yeah, so I don't necessarily need that action. That can be closed off. I might just turn this into an empty thing that can be overridden, and then it can just be taken out of the classes that don't need it. So we have updated our hero with our bar. Next thing we need to do is test and make sure it works. So let's stop our bot. We'll rerun the bot. There we go. Did I seriously just write all that with a... Oh my god. So sorry, I did not even realize I still had the Discord thing up as I went through and wrote all of this code. So in here, I have initiated the... So in here, when somebody selects the bar to smelt, it's now going to kick off a smelting activity, setting up the bar to smelt as the ID, and we're going to execute the skill. So we're coming in here. We're coming into here to initiate our skilling activity, which is where we're grabbing the hero and their backpack, and we're going to check to see if the experience is null. Then we're going to set it up to 0 just for a safety check. From here, we're going to see if the player is inadequate, has an inadequate level to actually forge. Then we're going to let them know that they are not skilled enough. And then we're going to attempt to remove the first required. If there's an error, we're going to send it and return, or otherwise we're going to proceed to see if this has a second element, in which case we're going to attempt to remove it, and if we can't, then we're going to send an error. Otherwise, we're going to come down and add up some forging XP. We'll add that to the blacksmith, and of course, if we get a level up, we will then congratulate our player on their level up. I realistically, because this is reused everywhere, I should pass that into the parent skilling activity and just make a super call to it. But that is... Oh, that is something I did not notice. So fire making activity, this is get fire making experience. And this is get blacksmith experience. There we go. Glad I caught that. All right, so we let them know that they've leveled up. And from there, we then try to see if we can add the bar. So now that they've forged it, we've given them XP. Now it's time to give them their reward. So if there's an error, we're just going to simply log it to the console. And from there, we're going to send a message back to the player, letting them know that there was an error while adding the bar to their inventory. And of course, down bottom here, if everything is up to date and good, then we're just going to print out that the record was updated, and we are going to load up the embed message for this given area. So that should then allow us to smith one bar at a time, theoretically. We'll have to add in some support later to add it to do multiple bars or to do like a continuous thing. However, for now, this is pretty fair. So let's go ahead and reboot our bot. I think I may have already done that, but let's go ahead and check and see what happens when I click on smelt and I say I want to smelt a bronze bar. Nothing's going to happen because I did not. Okay, let's go back in here for a minute. So I need to copy this, open up this. We need to go into our listener, and we need to go into our select menu listener. We're going to come down here. I'm going to duplicate this, paste this into here, and then this guy is going to be labeled as the forge smelt bar handle. Now we'll rerun it now that we're listening for the event and actually executing the event. We should have something happen. So now if we pop back into Discord, we'll hit the smelt button again just to reload this. Now we'll choose bronze bar. And it looks like everything was okay. So now if I go back to my hero and go into my backpack, I have a bronze bar. And if I go into my skills, I've got a little bit of blacksmithing experience. There we go. So now we can smelt bars. Next step, we want to be able to take those bars and smith them into something useful. Equipment, tools, whatever RuneScape's got to offer us. We want to be able to now take these metal bars and use them. Create something with it. How do we do that? Well, we replicate what we just did. So again, we're going to have a blacksmith button, which is now going to be a blacksmith smith. Damn it. So it's just going to be a blacksmith button. And we will make it search the inventory for any metal bars, any available bars, and Um, hmm. Um, we're going to need a way that we can tell. So we don't currently have a way to list out what can be made with each bar. So something we're going to need to do is introduce a way. We're going to need to introduce a way that we can know that an iron bar can make da 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 da. That like an iron bar can make an iron sword, can make an iron arrowheads, can make iron da da da. And I need to tailor that so that it can also be replicated as the rest of them. But ooh, okay. How am I gonna do this? What would be the best way to do this and store that data? So I don't want to go crazy and store it all in a JSON with mappings. I don't necessarily want to store it. Um, hmm. How do I want to do this? If I created a bunch of enums for materials that can be made, I can essentially store metal items. And if I store the metal items, I just need to simply say things like, this is a sword, this is a hatchet, this is a pickaxe, this is a this is a that. And that it consumes X amount of bars. Okay. We're cooking. Um, yeah. So I can make one enum for materials or like items that can be smithed. I can then make another. No, I don't want to make another one. Hmm. Take a second and think here for a moment about what it is. So an iron, let's, take a step back and think about this for a second. So an iron bar can make a list of material or a list of tools and equipment. An iron bar can do the same. A bronze bar can do that. An iron bar can do that. A steel bar can do that. Plus, it's able to make cannonballs. So okay, so I need to be able. Oh God, this is fun. This is fun. So I think I need to make an enum, which is going to store. I guess I'm going to do one for tools, smithable tools, and one for smithable. I might just do a smithable items enum. List out everything that can be smithed. Or get all choked up. So I think I'll make an enum for smithable items, and I'll label out things like sword, long sword. Well, I don't think I have long swords made yet, but I think I'll make something like sword, shield, plate body, plate legs, plate skirt. I don't think I have skirts, but whatever, you get the idea. I think I'll make an enum that lists out the base of this is the item this is the item. Yeah, this is the item name so that I can prefix it later with the bar name, so it'll be like bronze this. But if I make an enum of materials, then I can say things like sword, plate body, plate skirt, kite shield, square shield, arrowheads, this, that, and the other thing, run through the list. And then I can say that this produces this item, give it an item ID, and then say it produces this amount of items. Things like arrowheads produce, and knives, they would produce multiple, whereas everything else produces one. And then I can have another column for the number of bars it takes to smith it. And then if I remember correctly, RuneScape has this janky little experience thing where you get a fixed amount of XP per bar. You just get, like, for example, if it took 2 bars, you get double the XP, 3 bars, triple. So I think I'm going to follow suit with that and set up a base, whatever this... shit, no. No, that doesn't belong in there. No, that doesn't belong in there at all. So I'm going to make another enum. Yeah, I'm going to wind up making another enum, which I think I'm going to call, or it's going to be to the effect of smithable bars. So then I can simply say that the iron bar requires and I can link the metal bar to it, so that way I have all that I need with it. I can have an XP, a base XP for using the bar, and then I can contain a collection of what is able to be smithed with, or what is able to be created, which smithable items are able to be created from this. And that way I can then iterate over it later when I go to make a drop-down menu and just say, okay, what metal bars do you have? And then maybe I might make a selection bar if you have more than one. Be like, all right, which bar would you like to use? So that way I know definitively you're using bronze bar, iron bar, adamant bar, whatever. And then from there I can then be able to tell it that, okay, I've got this bar. I want to know what I can make from this bar. Okay, that seems like an okay plan. I feel like I should have wrote that down somewhere. Okay. Sorry, I'm just running more thoughts through my head about if I have different conditions, different situations and scenarios, so I can make sure that I nail everything. Okay, so I should be fine for creating the bars that way, and I should be fine for setting up a bar to be kind of the key listener, and then a list of Ooh, that's another way I could have done that. I could have done that as a no, because then that would require me to populate that at every time. I don't know if I like that very much. I don't think I like that at all. So I think I might have to go with making a couple of enums for now. Sort of like a fake data class. Okay. But now where do I place these? Ooh. Ooh. There's the next decision to make. Where do I place these? So it's going to be inside of the bot folder, I think. Might be under the game? No. It's not necessarily an engine aspect, although that's where I stuck most of these other models. So items, mobs, props. Yeah, okay. That's where the metal bars are. Okay. Okay. Do I want to add this in here in the item section where I stick in so I'm looking to make a smithable items enum so I can track. Okay. Okay, so probably not the best design, but I'm gonna go with enums. We're gonna set up a an enum for smithable bars or smithable items. Still not 100% of the name. Smithable items. And that is going to just contain some metadata that I need. Yes, okay. So let's... Oh, do I want to create you here or do I want to create you somewhere separate? You are technically items. This is probably going to get repackaged later, but I right now I'm just going to have items, and I'm going to stick metal bars. I'm going to stick this new enum in here. This smithable items. This is going to come into here. Yes, I know smithable is not a word. Guess what? I'm a developer. You're now a word. Cool. All right, so this one here, I want to... Oh dear God, this is going to be a big list. I am going to have to reference the wiki, I think. But in here, we're basically going to say Actually, I might be just referencing my own just items. Let's go into the browser and have a look at game items, and I want to search by bronze. So the different items that can be created are things like a bronze sword, shield, plate legs, plate body, pickaxe, helmet, gloves, crossbow, boots, bolts, a bar, and an axe. Okay, so we are going to... I feel like I'm going to need this up on my other screen so that I don't lose it. But yes, sword, shield, plate legs, plate body, pickaxe, helmet, gloves, crossbow, bolts, boots, and an axe. Okay. Now, what level is for what? I don't know. We'll sort those out later. But for now, we know we need an axe. I knew I should have put that up on my other monitor. Okay, so we've got an axe. Axe. We're gonna have bolts. There's a pickaxe. There's a helmet. A plate body. Plate legs. Shield. Sword. Did I get boots? Boots, gloves. What do we got here? An axe, bolts, boots, gloves, helmet, pickaxe, plate legs, sword, shield, body. So I'm missing a crossbow. This is technically crossbow limbs, but we don't actually have crossbow limbs. So I'm gonna mark that out as a comment for now. Okay. So now I want to be able to say that this is an axe. I knew I should have wrote that down. Axe. I got here. I want the amount of bars. I want the suffix. Um, the produced amount and shit. So required level is not necessarily in here. Shoot. So I forget what I was initially saying about this now. So this takes and it produces. Doesn't matter. It's not in here. This just needs to know that it is a suffix of an axe. I'm going to prefix it with the bar name. This has one bar makes one. One bar makes one axe, and I forget how many bolts you get when you smith. I think it's 10. Unfinished bolts 10. Yeah, okay. It is 10. Oh yeah, and then there's the base XP. So for an axe's case, that would be 12.5. Okay. And that is also 12.5. 12.5 is basically the... Yeah, 12.5 is the basic for bronze. So that doesn't need to be in here. That needs to be in the other aspect. Okay. There is no... You can't smith pickaxes in old school? And why is this... Why is there a bronze cannonball? What? Oh, they got added during sailing. Okay. Okay, that makes more sense. Cool. Okay, so we're gonna speed up this process a little bit. So I don't actually have arrow tips, so I'm gonna have to add arrow tips into the game. That should be pretty cool. Okay. I'm just gonna get rid of that for simplicity's sake. Now we're gonna come down here and we're gonna make a constructor. And these are all final. Okay, so now we're gonna bolt you out, put you out, both you out there. What's that? Okay. So now one. Jesus. Okay, so it's a sword. It's gonna take 2. Shield is gonna take 3. Light legs take 3. Oh, 3. Like body takes 5. Helmet takes what? 2? 2. Uh, okay, so that should be about the rest for that. And make getters for that. Okay. Okay, so this takes care of roughly our I feel like this is missing something, but that is smithable items, and now we're gonna need to make another one for smithable metals. So now we're gonna make a new Java class. This one's gonna be another enum. This one is going to be smithable metals. And what this guy is going to take in, but what this guy is going to do is bronze is going to have the prefix. Oh. Okay. This is going to have a base XP of 12.5 from what I saw. And okay, so this is going to contain a list of smithable items, technically. And this can, in our case, as of right now, this can make technically everything. And then iron's gonna basically have the same thing, and so if we were to duplicate this down, we would do another one for iron, call it iron. The XP for that was something greater. I forget what it was. History, smithing. 25 XP. But here you can sort of see where we're getting at here. So we're gonna make private final string item prefix. Private final double turned base XP returned. And then we're gonna have a list of smithable items. And that's just going to be a list of smithable items. And now we need this, which takes in all of that. This is there. So I'm gonna go here. We'll slap a getter on there. All right. So, as you can sort of see how this is going, we're going to have bronze items, which is bronze whatever. So in our case, bronze axe, bronze bolts, bronze arrow tips, and so forth. Bronze items give 12.5 multiplied by the amount of bars. And then these are the products that can be built or smithed. So I have to fill out the rest of these for the others. I'll have to create some missing ones in here, like cannonballs, but I don't have cannons yet, so like, I don't know. It's not necessarily a bad thing. But like next after this is going to be steel, so we'll duplicate this and we'll have steel, and steel is 37.5 experience. And again, it can make this. It can also make studs. Yeah. Duplicate that again for mithril. And this one is a straight 50.0 experience. And we'll duplicate that guy again, and this time we'll come down to adamant. And this one just so happens to have a 62.5 XP for the base. And then we'll finally wrap it up with... We're not able to create dragon yet. Just call it rune. And rune gives you 75 XP per bar. And again, can basically make those same things. So that is it for the smithable items. So now the smithable metals contain yada yada. Now, that's the other thing that I need to put in here. Okay, so this needs metal barred up. Whoop. Okay, so that one is of type bronze. This one is of type iron. Steel. Mithril. Adamant. There. So now I have a way to... Why is this smithable different than the other smithables? thought I already had that saved in there. Okay, whatever. Yeah. So now we know. Now we can tell what we're looking to make, and we have a way to say, okay, for each type of smithable metal, check to see if the player has at least one of these required bars. If they do, add it to a list that they can smith bronze, that they can smith iron, yada yada yada. Then we'll make a drop-down menu saying, hey, I see that you have this. Let's offer you this. So that way, when I say that I want to smith a bar into some metal objects, it'll be like, hey, you've got some bronze bars and some iron bars. Which would you like to use? At which point, I would then just tell it, select which one, and then it would be like, all right, you've selected iron. These are all of the items you can make. Give me a list, give me a drop-down menu of all of these. And then I would then handle the logic once I click on it to check to see, make sure that I have it, make sure that this and that, and whatnot. So, I am running out of time in this little clip. So, if you've enjoyed this so far, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Lets me know that this is entertaining. If you want to be notified when I go live in the mornings, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I will be starting a new project. For those of you who are subscribed, I will be starting a new project. It's going to be a new series. It's going to be a pre-recorded videos, so there's not going to be live streams, and they will be breaking down the boundaries of my code works, but I have no idea what it does. And if you've ever asked yourself, if you ever found yourself writing code and knowing that, hey, I can write code, I just have no idea what I'm writing, then I have a series that is going to be perfect for you. So, as always, keep your curiosity open, your skills sharp, and that coffee cup full. And I will catch you in the next one, guys.